मला घशाचं औषध आहे दिलं जरा थोडंसं चालेल. I'm in a dilemma what language I should speak to you. First I'll speak in English, then in Hindi, then in Marathi. We all have come here to Kolhapur to worship the Mahalaxmi. बंद करून टाका, फिरता करा नहीं का, घूमने वाला कर दीजिए. And you all know about the importance of Mahalaxmi. That Sushumna Nadi is the channel for Mahalaxmi. But this principle of Mahalaxmi is only possible to manifest in us when our principle of Lakshmi is satisfied. When we see poverty in India, we really get very upset about it and think, when will it be all right when all these people will also get the blessings of the divine. So the principle of the divine works through Mahalakshmi. It's a vicious circle that you have to get to a point where your Lakshmi principle is satisfied. And then only you start seeking. And that seeking comes from the Mahalakshmi principle within us. So, Sahaja grows in the middle path, in the middle section of the society. Very rich will seldom come to Sahaja. And if they come only, they'll just take few advantages of it and they won't understand the depth of it. In the same way, the poor cannot come. So these are like the two shores of one river that is flowing in between. And if we start expanding, then we will definitely shower the blessings of the divine on all both the shores. And I am sure lots of people who look today to be poor and who appear to be rich will definitely become Sahajogis. Such a vicious circle that unless and until you become a Sahajogi, your financial situations cannot be improved very much. But you cannot become a Sahajayogi unless and until you have got your principle of Lakshmi satisfied. How do we get our Lakshmi principle satisfied? That we should see. That when we have little more money than required, then we start thinking, what shall I do with this money? Then some people think, all right, I'll have one more car, I'll have one more house, I'll have one more this, more that. But sagacity sets in. A kind of a satisfaction sets in. Now, what more? In addition to that, we have taxations, thanks to the government, and all kinds of problems. So people think, now I've had enough of it, now no more, finished with it. So the hankering goes away. Hankering for money goes away. In Sahaja, you are so blessed that you start getting whatever you like, and at a point you reach and you think, oh wow, too much, now no more, I want. This is also another way, even before your Lakshmi principle is satisfied, that if you get your self-realization, you can short-circuit the whole thing. If that is short-circuited, then also you can enter into Mahalakshmi principle. But in case where your situation is such that now you have become overly rich, and if that richness has gone into your head, and you think no end of yourself, then there are still some chances of you getting into Sahaja. For example, if a very rich man is there, if he gets sick, if he gets cancer, or his children start misbehaving, or he suddenly gets a bad reputation somewhere, some sort of a shock from his right side can push him to the center. Now the left-sided people who are suffering too much because they are poor, because they are lethargic, because they don't know how to get to their jobs. They have no ambitions, nor do they compete. In a way, they are in a better situation than the rich, because they don't have to worry so much about income tax, as if they have solved their problems by having no income, no car. If you have no car, then you don't have problems of car. If you have no, I've done that way, I never drive, so somebody has to drive me. I can go by bus, I can go by rickshaw, anything. But if you drive, then you have to drive all the rest of the people. If you have got, say, a house, you have a problem, everything that you possess, so-called, you have a problem. And till you develop a complete detached feeling about it, the problems are there. So then, what happens to you? That when you start all these problems creeping up, in India especially I have seen, people become generous. Very miserly people also become generous because they become so fed up with their so-called wealth that they start distributing it and giving it away. So the principle of Lakshmi is to give away, to be generous. That principle starts working. Then the second principle of Lakshmi also works with them when they have very nice, beautiful houses and things. Then they want people to come to their house, stay there, look after them and give them food. And, they enjoy all this, giving parties or maybe money, anything. So this generosity starts. But that generosity also is not very satisfying. They think that still this generosity is getting into my head. I am still feeling as if I have done some great job, by being generous. Then this generosity, when it doesn't satisfy them, then they start thinking of getting to the truth of life. It's a story about Shivaji, very interesting story. He was once building a very huge, big fort, and people were working, and he was just looking at them, and he thought, see now, what a nice thing I'm doing. I have given so much work to so many poor people. I was feeling quite happy about it. I was looking at them. Suddenly his Guru Ramdas Swami came there, and they are breaking one boulder. They said, slowly, slowly break it. Do not hit it hard. They are breaking slowly. Ultimately they came to a stone which was just like one coconut. So Ramdas Swami took that coconut in his hand and broke it. And there was water in it, and there was a frog sitting inside. Then Shivaji Maharaj realized that when God creates you, He also provides you with things. You need not be proud that you are doing so much for others. So in this generosity, in this social work and so-called doing for the poor also, you develop a kind of a very funny ego and think end of yourself. And to pamper it also, people can give you a peace prize, can give you Nobel Prize, this prize, that prize. Then of course there's a very hard nut they create out of your brains. That is how even this generosity can be very dangerous, which creates this kind of a feeling that we are something great and we are doing this great work and we are just looking after so many people. So then we come to another kind of people who are really very miserly. They can never change. I think it's a disease with people who are miserly. They are extremely miserly, and sometimes I see the whole nation is of a miserly nature. They talk of money and there's no decency about it. Many countries who are supposed to be very rich were surprised that the people of that country are not only miserly but indecent, and can't understand how they could be like that. There's no culture about it. Like somebody came with us and we went to a hotel for a dinner, and after the dinner lots of things were left over. So they got up and said, pack it for us. We Indians, we started looking here and there, what is this? Oh, we paid for it. It doesn't matter, I can't just say do that in this country. So there's no shame, there's no decency, there's no decorum about it. This is the greatest curse of being rich. People become absolutely shameless, indecent, arrogant, and above all, absolutely irreligious. So one has to fear those things which are so illusory and look like something being very, very great to achieve. How they can make a human being so horrible, so indecent. Because the rich have no manners at all of any kind. They have no maryadas of any kind. and they don't care for what others are going to say or what they have to be. So such rich countries have gone from left to right, right to left like a yo-yo. We are still doing the same. And also, the kind of ego that comes into a rich man is really very stupid, extremely stupid, and people would laugh at them the way they behave. You must have heard about the king who made chappals out of pearls. And there are people who are trying to show off their wealth in the most hideous manner. To them, to show off their wealth is the only criteria. But whether it is decent or whether it is decorous or is it some sort of a very cultured behavior, they are not bothered. They are the people who are killers of culture. And that's how we find the people or the countries which are rich absolutely kill all the culture, all the behavior part of human beings. And the second thing they get into is complete immorality. Complete immorality. They have no morals of any kind. To them, a girl of 20 years is the same as a fiancé, whether they are 80 years of age. They have no sense of proportion. Extremely immoral, live a very immoral and absolutely low-graded life, which even an animal would not do. So they get even not only human, subhuman, but sub-animal also. So all the decency that comes from your culture or all the norms that are described about the culture just disappear. They may have a decency as to what glass should be used for which wine, or could be what sort of a dress should be worn for a particular thing. But even that is gone now. Anything is possible. What's wrong? This arrogance of a very incorrigible ego is even thickened when there are 5, 6 more like them, because the competition starts. One says one thing, so another says even a higher thing than that. And the third one starts to compete and says something more than that. And this is going on and on and on and on between these people, all kinds of horrible expressions of their ugly wealth. The whole society becomes so ugly. It so happened, unfortunately, that I had to be with such people also. But thank God, I have my own people now, you are here. My own style, my own time. All of you are here, so close to me, so much. And what an atmosphere you have created. Even people in Kolhapur and here are saying, we have never seen such beautiful people, so well behaved, so balanced. They never fight. They never say bad words, and they never hit each other. Because whatever we had known of foreigners was this, that they would come, enter into any house during the time of British and get whatever they wanted. And later on, these were soldiers, and later on came the hippies. Then came Hare Ramas, one after the other, one better than the other. All these horrible experiences, and then you people coming like great blessings. They are so impressed by you. They are more impressed by you than by me, I can tell you this. I knew that this would happen when they will see lots of Sahajayogis together, the way they live, the way they enjoy each other, the way they have a nice time, and the way they are detached about things. Definitely they'll be very much impressed, and that's what is happening today.